Is the Sony BRAVIA 9 worth it in 2025? Well, we've put it to the test to help you guys decide. Is this your next TV, or are 2025's new OLEDs the way to go? So this is Sony's lineup for 2025. As you can see, some of their models are carrying over from 2024, including the flagship mini LED BRAVIA 9. But Sony have also expanded their BRAVIA lineup, including a replacement to their premium QD OLED TV, the A95L. Now, we were expecting this new flagship OLED to sit alongside or even above the BRAVIA 9, maybe a BRAVIA 10 OLED perhaps, but instead, they've named it the BRAVIA 8 Mark II, which is a little bit confusing, I know, especially since it's not actually replacing the BRAVIA 8. But what this name does tell us is that it sits below the BRAVIA 9 in Sony's 2025 lineup, confirming that Sony are backing mini LED this year. So as far as Sony are concerned, this TV right here sits at the top of their range for 2025. Which leads us to the big question: was Sony right to stick with it? And more importantly, can it hold its own against the new competition launching this year? Hey guys, Louis here from Smart Home Sounds, and I know what you're thinking. Aren't you a bit late to be reviewing the BRAVIA 9? Now, technically, yes, I am. This TV did launch in 2024, but the landscape in 2025 has shifted. Prices on the BRAVIA 9 have dropped now, OLED tech is advancing and getting brighter and better, and Sony are backing this horse in 2025. So this review is not necessarily about what the BRAVIA 9 was, it's about whether it still deserves the crown now. Now, we've also just had the new for 2025 LG G5 land in the studio, and while its full review and head-to-head with the BRAVIA 9 are definitely coming soon, I will show you some early side-by-side comparisons to really put things into context. So last year, the BRAVIA 9 was pretty universally given the title of the best LED TV yet. It's available in 3 sizes, so we've got a 65, 75 and 85 inch, which were all eye-wateringly expensive at launch. They're still premium TVs with premium price tags, but the prices have dropped a bit since launch, and they're pretty competitive with the new flagship models from the likes of LG at the time of filming this video. Confusingly, it's also a similar price right now to the BRAVIA 8 Mark II with its higher launch price, so I'll definitely be getting that one in for a review soon too. The BRAVIA 9 is a mini LED with quantum dots for richer, more vibrant colours. It generated a lot of buzz in 2024 thanks to its advanced backlighting system, which works alongside Sony's XR processor and new local dimming algorithm powered by upgraded LED drivers. Now, this combination gives it much more precise control over brightness and contrast than we've seen on Sony mini LEDs, or really any other mini LEDs out there. Unlike OLED, mini LEDs work in zones, not per pixel, but Sony's made those zones super precise on this model. They've not shared the exact number of dimming zones, but we know this is their brightest ever 4K TV, around about 30% brighter than its predecessor, the X95L. The extra brightness, alongside better dimming control, also means that we should get less blooming, which we'll check out in our testing. But before we get into the picture quality, I do just want to highlight something that I think this TV does really well, and that's its design. We know it comes with a premium price tag, but it does come with a premium finish to match. It's got Sony's one slate design, which means it looks super sleek and minimalist from the front. The stand is adjustable with flexible placement options, and it comes with Sony's rechargeable backlit Eco remote. Now, we've got the 75-inch model here, and I will say, it is a bit of a beast. I think it weighs around about 45 kilos with the stand, which we definitely did notice when we were setting it up. We did share a full unboxing and setup video on our channel and across our socials if you do want to check that out. But part of the reason it's so heavy is down to the thicker design needed to accommodate all the backlighting. Though I will say, once we had it up and on a unit that could take its weight, it's a great looking TV. In terms of connections, we've still only got 2 HDMI 2.1 sockets, and one of those is the eARC. So if you've got a PS5, an Xbox and a soundbar, then you might run out of ports. Now, that's something to keep in mind and something that Sony has received some stick for over the years, but you could work around it with an HDMI switch or soundbar with pass-through. The good news is those 2 HDMI 2.1 ports support 4K 120Hz gaming with VRR, and You'll also get ALLM and 4K 60Hz on all 4 HDMI ports. When you turn the TV on, it runs on Google TV, which is my personal preferred TV OS. You've got access to all the main apps, you're not overwhelmed with ads, and you've got quick settings along the bottom, or you can dive deeper into the full settings if you want to. Overall, I find it a really simple TV to use, and the settings are pretty easy to navigate. Now, for those of you guys who didn't already know, we don't just review TVs here at Smart Home Sounds, we actually sell them as well. And it's our mission this year to be the place that you guys come for any additional advice or support. So make sure you hit that subscribe button because we've got so much more TV content on the way this year. Now, if you are interested in picking up a TV from us, then I've left all of the relevant links in the description box below. And it's also worth mentioning that we offer a free 5-year warranty as well as free delivery. And of course, we've got a team of tech experts ready to help offer any personalized advice you may need. Alright, so if you've watched just one of our TV review videos before then, you'll know that we really don't like to get lost in all the nitty-gritty. We prefer to just show you how a TV performs in the real world, because most of you want to know how it will look in your living room. Now for this review, I've been testing the BRAVIA 9 in comparison with the Sony BRAVIA 8, which is Sony's 2024 continuing OLED, and the new LG G5 OLED. Now I will note that they are all different sizes, so things like pixel density will vary, so that's something just worth keeping in mind. Now one of mini LED's biggest selling points is brightness. Typically they can go brighter than OLEDs and are therefore well suited for light, bright spaces and daytime viewing. So we've tested this TV in our very bright showroom with plenty of skylights and windows, as well as in our very dark studio. Straight away, it's clear that this is a bright TV. Not just peak highlights, but overall brightness across the image. Our bright showroom space is challenging, and it handled it really well. Sony's X-anti-reflection is definitely helping here too, and reflections are hardly noticeable. Shots like screensavers with the snow here on the mountains shows the bright specular highlights, and you can see it preserves the details in those highlights too, without washing things out. Side by side with the BRAVIA 8, it's almost night and day. Even accounting for the size difference, there's a big jump in brightness, and I definitely know which TV I would go for in a light space like this. But of course, context matters. We're in 2025 now, which means LG's G5 is in the mix, and it has changed the conversation. The G5 is promising a big upgrade on the G4, claiming to be up to 40% brighter with its new 4-stack panel. Now that's all a conversation for another day, but I do have to say, I am shocked by how it compares with the BRAVIA 9. In this lighter space, the G5 is often the brighter TV. Now it does depend on the content, and there are some scenes like this in Pan where the BRAVIA 9 really does hold its own very well. But honestly, the G5 is looking to be a game changer. I will say that the BRAVIA 9 handles reflections better in my opinion, but I was not expecting an OLED to outperform a top-of-the-range mini LED in a space like this in a lot of our demo content. In a space like this, for me, the BRAVIA 9 has lost its USP of brightness in this comparison. Now, of course, the G5 is expected to be one of, if not the top OLED in 2025. It's likely the BRAVIA 9 will still be one of the brightest TVs on the market, but I'm really interested to see how other top OLEDs compare this year, including Sony's own BRAVIA 8 Mark II. Now for context, these TVs are in their standard picture mode right now, which is what you get right out of the box. But we've also run tests in filmmaker mode on the G5 and professional mode on the BRAVIA 9, which is their most accurate modes. Now personally, I do lean towards cinema mode on the BRAVIA 9, which retains better brightness, but for any purists, I'll stick to professional mode for our side-by-sides. So let's see how the TV holds up in our studio right here, which is a slightly darker space. Now, first things first, I think it levels up again in performance. The highlights and bright picture combined with the impressive contrast, as I'll come on to shortly, make this a pretty stunning viewing experience. Now, when we compare it with the G5, it's similar to what we found in the lighter space. The G5 is super competitive for brightness and highlights, but it's not a clear winner every time. In this type of setup, we're looking at very fine margins. Again, professional mode for me on the BRAVIA 9 is just too dim in a dark space like this, and cinema mode offers a better balance, but that will all come down to personal preference. Of course, brightness isn't everything. The XR backlight master drive on the BRAVIA 9 is important on this TV, helping to deliver better black levels and contrast. Now overall, I'm impressed by just how close to OLED it can get. The blacks are great for a backlit TV, but when you put it side by side with the BRAVIA 8 or the G5, the deep blacks and that 3D pop you get from self-lit pixels are still clear to see. And in some scenes, particularly dark scenes, the BRAVIA 9 can look slightly washed out in comparison. Now in testing, this was mostly in our very light, bright space, and I wondered if the X-ante reflection is having an impact there, as I found the black levels and contrast to be even closer to OLED in our dark studio. Now I do want to commend the BRAVIA 9 for its blooming control. Blooming is very minimal on this TV, and I didn't notice any issues in general viewing. Actually, I had to really search for an example to show you guys. Even then, it's subtle, and that's a big win for mini LED tech. Color is another area where Sony shines. Their processing has always been strong, and on the BRAVIA 9, the colors feel natural and accurate. They're not as punchy as the G5 in HDR content, but not far off, especially in nature documentaries and animated content. Motion handling is also solid, from fast-paced action clips to sports. There's no noticeable blur, and as to be expected, upscaling is excellent on this TV. Sony's processor continues to be one of the best at making low-res content look sharp. All in all, the BRAVIA 9 is a very impressive mini LED, which performs well in light spaces as well as dark rooms, making it super versatile. Now, if you're happy to forego the more punchy contrast of OLEDs, then this TV should tick a lot of boxes for you. Now normally I do like to skim over sound performance in my TV reviews, as I think when you're spending this much money on a TV, you're probably going to be pairing it with a separate soundbar or sound system, but the sound performance on this one is definitely worth noting. It's up there with the best speakers that we've heard on a TV, and no, that's not because they're all rubbish. We've got a 2.2.2 channel speaker system, and the notable difference is there are up-firing beam tweeters on this TV. So these work alongside the frame tweeters and basically act as height channels, bouncing sound off your ceiling. Now I was definitely skeptical at first, but the sound performance is actually pretty immersive on the BRAVIA 9, but still within the context of TV speakers, and I'd still like a little bit more oomph. But if you are planning on using the TV speakers for your audio, then I think you'll be pretty happy. For me, this TV ticks pretty much all of the boxes you need for your average gamer. HDMI 2.1, VRR, ALLM, 4K 120 frames per second, great response time and low input lag in game mode, and Dolby Vision. But if you're more of a competitive gamer, there are other TVs in the market that do it better, with 144Hz gaming, more HDMI 2.1 ports, and slightly better stats for response time and input lag. Overall, the picture quality is great for gaming. Plenty of details in super dark scenes and punchy colors to make it more immersive. For PS5 users, it also has auto genre mode to automatically switch into game mode, and that maximizes responsiveness. And if you have your PS5 set up in a different room with another Sony BRAVIA TV, then you can link up and play remotely. If it's not already clear, the BRAVIA 9 is the best mini LED that I've tested. It's seriously bright, handles reflections well, and delivers a very impressive visual performance. Sony's processing remains among the best out there, and this TV absolutely feels premium in both design and performance. Now, if you're not sold on OLED or still worried about burn-in, then this is one of the best alternatives out there, especially now the price has come down a bit. But we've got to be honest, OLED has taken a major step forwards in 2025. The LG G5 isn't just rivaling the BRAVIA 9 for brightness, it's starting to exceed it. So now it comes with all the benefits of OLED, pure blacks, pixel level contrast, and a more cinematic picture, without the historical trade-off in brightness. Now, as I said, I've got a lot more testing to do, but based on my initial impressions, the G5 could be a real threat to the BRAVIA 9. That being said, I still think the BRAVIA 9 will be one of the top TVs of 2025, and for good reason. There's always going to be demand for a premium alternative to OLED, and this is up there with the very best. As for whether Sony was right not to replace it this year, I think they were. The 65-inch model only launched late in 2024, and honestly, the TV replacement cycle has been pretty brutal over the past few years. So I'd rather see meaningful updates when they're ready, not just a refresh for the sake of it to lift the price. But the next question will be, can mini LED technology keep up with the advancements in OLED? Sony have announced they're working on new RGB mini LED tech for 2026, so we'll have to stay tuned for that next year. But one thing's for sure, the OLED versus LED debate is heating up, and we have a full head-to-head ready to dive deeper. But now it's over to you. Is the BRAVIA 9 the TV for you, and what are your thoughts on mini LED? Get down in the comments and let me know. Thank you all very much for watching this one, and I'll catch all of you in the next video.